In today's expedition, we return to the beautiful and enigmatic Abusir Pyramid complex, located on the Western Desert Plateau, with the Giza Pyramids to the north and Saqqara to the south. Abusir, dubbed as the resting place of Osiris, served as one of the main elite cemeteries for the ancient Egyptian capital city of Memphis. The three major pyramids are Saqqara, Neferkare, and Niuserra, which conventionally date to the 5th dynasty Old Kingdom. In part 1 of our return, we had a rare opportunity to explore a monument considered to be the largest and architecturally unique non-royal tomb of the Old Kingdom, belonging to one of the most outstanding members of the royal courtyard, Ptahshepses. We investigated the blue sandstone plate of unknown origin and purpose. For the first time, we entered the mastaba through the lotus column doorway and witnessed the ancient funerary cult and biographical scenes of Ptahshepses. We located and examined conduit systems and basins that were documented in early excavations. And we studied the mysterious nubbed granite container that is lined with limestone with remarkable precision.
Interior, white limestone. And one of the main things I wanted to point out here, if you look.
That was awesome. In part 2, we investigated the Eastern Temple complex of Niuserra with the objective to locate a third conduit and possible basin that was recorded by Bordchart in his early excavation.
See if you can go over there and look for that thing.
Okay.
The other one, it should be in this area somewhere.
So I'm on the hunt for a piece of conduit and a collection basin. So I'm standing next to one of the inlets for the conduit system, made of quartzite. We'll see where it terminates later on.
We also explored the Eastern Temple complex of the Pyramid of Neferkare for the first time.
Today we're here at the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Neferkare. I'm here at the red quartzite collection basin on the causeway to the Pyramid of Niuserra.
So we were just talking about how that collection bowl may have originally had a copper inlay, like a metal bowl on the inside of it. That does look like a copper oxide. So this is a very unique fragment here.
Today we're here at the Pyramid of Saqqara in Abusir.
Join us in our exploration of the Pyramid of Saqqara.
Let's go explore the Eastern Temple
and see how the Abusir Pyramid complex is transformed after a rare downpour.
We're here at Abusir and it's pouring out,
revealing hidden details and textures often obscured by the desert sun.
That was awesome. Or temple of Ptahshepses, a very unusual.
Today we're here at Abusir. Special permission access.
If you want to help support our research and expeditions, grab some merch from the new Archeo Alchemy store. Rock the classic logo in your favorite color combination with some beautiful alchemical prints. There are hats, mugs, hoodies, shorts, tanks, and tapestries. More designs are in the works, so stay tuned. And if you want to be the lifeblood of my channel, please become a member for early access, exclusive updates, and content. Thank you all so much. Now, back to our adventure.
Here we're looking at the valley temple to the pyramid of Suhure.
That leads down into the valley temple. And we've been talking about how these valley temples were also functioning as harbors for the site. And water, during the inundation of the Nile River, the water would have come all the way up to the threshold of the valley temple, which was also the harbor for the site. And we'll go down here. Can we go?
Yeah.
In the temple? Okay, this way.
So this was the causeway section that we see, the width and everything?
Yes, this is the causeway, and we can go. So you'll notice over here to the left.
I'm Lex Levy. We're here at the Pyramid of Suhure, here at Abusir. I'm standing on the causeway.
Flood waters that were coming through this area.
We're on our way to investigate the temple of Ptahshepses.
So this is the temple and mastaba of Ptahshepses. And we'll walk around in through this little area here, and I want to show you a very unusual piece of stone. So this is also a very unusual structure and feature of this site. So we're standing on ground level. You can see here that there's a shaft leading to the subterranean level, and there would have also been another level above us. So there was a 3-level structure that was here originally.
In your opinion, this was ancient Egypt.
Oh yeah.
This area here.
Take a look at this.
Look at that.
Which is one of my favorite unusual artifacts from this site.
Okay.
So you can see down here, this is the subterranean portion of this structure. That descending shaft that leads down from over here actually terminates down here into this subterranean portion. Please stay away from the edge. But just so you can see it. Okay, so first, look at this black piece right here. That's black basalt. But then I would call your attention, everybody come around this way and take a look at this thing. I would just, yeah, you can just put it out of the way. Watch out for nails though. And take a look at this piece. And you can see on the sides here, the finishing of this piece of stone. So this is actually blue sandstone. This is not black basalt. It's a different type of geology, different type of chemical composition. They've taken samples of this. No. The team has taken an analysis of this. You can also see some of the saw blade marks. You can see the quality of this stone. So you can see it here. You can see them here. There's tool marks. So this part was being finished, and there was probably a lip here that came off that was cracked. So this is, again, blue sandstone, not black basalt. This is a bit of an out-of-place artifact because it does not necessarily fit with the materials or the construction capabilities that we see with the rest of the structure over here. It's very, very unusual. The only other place that we found blue sandstone is inside of the pyramid of Niuserra in Saqqara, where the container is now completely blown into tiny little fragments. It's completely destroyed, tiny little piece of this thing all over the inner chamber, and it's the same type of material.
These
Again,
marks
you
on
can-
the side here have a bunch of little.
There's like striations.
Striations.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at
yeah,
how
yeah.
it's
We'll see a whole bunch of tool marks when we
Has-
get to the pyramid of
has an
Niuserra.
arc
But I
to
just
it.
wanted to show you this artifact because it is a little bit unusual. We don't know where this was intended to go or what it was a part of originally, but I think you would agree that this is not necessarily the same as this. Right? And it's definitely not the same as that piece of black. So there's something very unusual and special about this piece of stone. How did it end up here? What was it originally
It's
a part of?
tapered too.
Correct, yeah. So it's one of those unusual artifacts that we don't have a fantastic explanation for because, again, is this in its original place? Probably not. Where did they find it and why did they move it over here? Very good question, because that's a heavy piece of stone. So you're also sitting on what is called a hotep, or an altar. So if this was the original place, it certainly would have been a sacred ceremonial component of this temple structure with the hotep and altar right there.
My remarkable colleagues at the Abusir Project had an expedition to Abusir in 2017 to study the architectural and engineering features of the site, as well as the skills of the ancient Egyptian artists and scribes who left valuable information in stone. The Abusir Project performed an analysis of this stone, and the result was a fine-grained blue sandstone of unknown origin and purpose. The analog of this material was used as a container lid found in the Headless Pyramid in Saqqara, and it is also found within the Pyramid of Userkaf in Saqqara. You can watch rare footage from inside the Forbidden Pyramid of Userkaf from our 2023 private access research expedition in episode 19. As far as we know, we were the first people to enter and obtain video documentation of inside the Pyramid of Userkaf since 2010, when our Abusir Project team had their expedition. The mysterious blue stone that's found on top of the Great Pyramid is also believed to be blue sandstone.
Coming. Yes, all right. Coming.
Stones were originally discovered in 1843 by the German Egyptologist Richard Lepsius, who classified the architectural object as a pyramid due to the impressive size of the visible boundaries. The first archaeological works were started here only a half century later, in 1893, by the French geologist and archaeologist de Morgan. During these works, the site designated by Lepsius appeared not to be a pyramid, but a mastaba. After the excavations of De Morgan, the site was left at the disposal of nature in the sands of Abusir for another 70 years. In 1960, the Czechoslovak Institute of Egyptology began its large-scale archaeological works on the territory of Abusir during a series of excavations from 1960 to 1974. The entire ancient structure, known to us as the largest and most complex non-royal tomb of the Old Kingdom, was completely unearthed. This is a layout of the mastaba of Ptahshepses done by Werner during the Czechoslovakian excavations. Here, basins and fragments of a conduit system are recorded. Our objective for today's expedition is to locate and examine these basins and conduit pieces. The mastaba was built in 3 phases. The initial phase in yellow, where the container is housed. The second phase in green, when the chapel was added. And the third phase in blue, when the pillared hall, magazines, boat room, and column entrance was added. This is a 3D layout of the mastaba done by Keith Hamilton to help orient you as we explore. He has noted in red the only surviving in-situ ceiling piece.
So obviously the view on the top is restoration. A lot of the facade of the building here, this is all restoration. This is not original.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
This is original. The columns are original. But all of the smaller blocks you can see are restoration of the facade or exterior of the temple.
What's the point of the?
So those are either papyrus
Papyrus.
or lotus.
Right.
They have 2 different symbolic adornments on the top of these things.
Mm-hmm.
The entrance leads into a room with lotus columns, built in the second enlargement phase of the mastaba, and was originally to serve as an entrance to the mastaba, but was closed off in the third phase enlargement. The walls of this room are decorated with scenes of a funerary cult and biographical information of Ptahshepses. A narrow corridor decorated with images of Ptahshepses leads to the chapel with fragments of statues that once were standing in the 3 niches.
Thank you so much. Okay, so again, this is the temple or mastaba of Ptahshepses, and I'll show you some very interesting and unusual features of this temple. This is my first time. I've been in here 3 times on 3 different tours. This is my first time coming through the main entrance.
I noticed here they have hieroglyphics. Paintings.
Notice them inside, just so that, or maybe paint it in. That's a relief.
So, if you would, I wouldn't touch anything in here, but you can certainly look to appreciate. Hey, do you have the flashlight?
Yeah, I should have it.
And I found one thing that we were looking for already.
Is this another hotep here?
So these are what I would say are extended naus. So naus or naus is a term of basically a container for a statue housing. So we'll see some of these in the Egyptian Museum. You can see down here at the bottom that there are hinges. So there would have been a door that closed over this, and there was most likely a statue or an offering of some sort that was housed in these little areas, because you can see the door hinges here.
Now, your estimation is that the paintings are from dynastic.
Correct. Yes, yes. And as we walk outside, we're going to move to the more ancient megalithic part of the structure.
The chapel leads into the 20 limestone pillared courtyard, which was built in the 3rd phase enlargement of the mastaba. These columns bear life-size pictures of Ptahshepses and are arranged in such a way to lead a visitor to the large altar in the center, then to the original mastaba's entrance, and ultimately to the container room. In the scheme on the right, the arrows are showing the directions of the silhouettes on the columns.
So look right here.
Yes.
Yeah, just get some footage of that and see if you can find the other one.
Of inscriptions or pictures
We've been looking for these basins.
This information on the conduit system and basins in the mastaba Ptahshepses is provided in Keith Hamilton's layman's guide to the mastaba Ptahshepses. It's stated that the exact route of the channels is uncertain due to damage. and, as well as the large basin, which was connected to the drainage system, a further small basin was discovered in the floor of the northern ambulatory. This was a shallow and circular impression. Additionally, a badly weathered altar was found just north of the niche, opening 15. Its original location is unknown. Let's see if we can find these. All right, we have located the small basin.
Out a couple of things about, and I think over there to the left there should be another one around here somewhere. So this is something that we were looking for here, which is this channel and the circular depression right here. So we're very, very intent on looking for all of these channels, which there was either a pipe or a piece of metal or some sort of fluid that was running through this thing. And there was most likely a copper basin or some sort of reservoir here that was originally housed in this piece.
And there's supposed to be a central basin.
So again, ritualistic uses of different chemicals. I wouldn't say water. I would say that it was definitely a chemical solution of some sort. Even if it was just an herbal tincture or a distilled, mixture of different herbs and flowers or whatever, not necessarily for drinking, you just for the smell, possibly for consumption. And again, this is emblematic. Anointing, right, exactly. But this would have been a channel or a pipe that was in here that flowed into a little metal basin that was housed in this area. So it's a small but important component of the ritual that was being performed at this site. So now we'll take a look at these limestone pillars. And so we were talking about the sand at these sites. And that all of this was buried in sand when they found it, up to the height of the columns. And that is why you see the erosion at the top of the pillars, because everything below.
I noticed this wet dirt that appears to be draining into this depression here. This may be an undocumented basin. It's found in the northeastern corner of the mastaba, of the pillared corridor. Okay, here we have a different perspective of the depression in the northeastern corner of the mastaba. And on the eastern wall, between these two columns, it was recorded that there was a conduit piece. But now this architrave is placed upon the area, and it makes it difficult to determine if the conduit piece still remains. Here's a schematic of the area. It was believed that the conduit ran under this column. Here's a view of that architrave looking north, and it appears that there may be an edge to a piece of masonry here. On this architrave, you see the hieroglyphs for Ptahshepses, and also for Stargate.
Was buried in sand. Everything above was exposed to the elements for thousands and thousands of years. That has led to the deterioration and erosion of the top of the pillars.
Could it have been a flood?
There's a number of different hypotheses for the erosion that occurred at this structure. And there was also, according to the original archaeological reports, a basin here in the center of the structure. So they had two basins here for whatever sort of ritual was being performed at this site. I think it's probably older, and then what we saw on the inside is more of the conventional dynastic part.
Now, this description of these pictures here.
Here's a basin here.
All right, here's some evidence of liquid being directed to a depression. This is definitely a basin, but it's not clearly reported on the initial schematic. This is the area in the schematic that we're investigating now. All right, this is a different perspective looking down into the cut in the masonry that's to the left of the niche 15, and you can see it's quite muddy. I also noticed the circular cut in this piece of masonry here, and I suspect it to be the badly weathered altar that was noted in Fiala's plan. It's noted that during excavations, a badly weathered altar was found just north of the niche opening 15. Its original location is unknown, but in Fiala's plan, he has it placed just south of the basin, so I suspect it to be this piece here.
So I actually think these are contemporaneous to the pillars themselves. It makes me think they're urgent. Now, it does. Now, so is there an esoteric interpretation to some of this? So I think a lot of this stuff is empirical. And they use some of the same stylistic appearance of these things for their hieroglyphs. Yeah, that's the 8th, correct. This is the Cambridge here.
These are magazines. Yes? Okay.
Watch out. You good? Alright.
Another interesting feature found in the mastaba are these holes that are found in the pavement as well as on the walls. There's about a dozen of these. Could they be door pivots? If so, why are some of them plugged with stone? They still remain a mystery. Unfortunately, during this expedition, I was unable to thoroughly investigate this area. It was recorded that there was a piece of conduit that ran underneath the wall. Here's a still image that I captured. Perhaps it's this piece of masonry here. Hopefully, we'll have another chance to look at this area more closely. And this is a different perspective, looking at the western wall. And you can see this depression here. I suspect this is the area.
Go this way.
Okay, you got everybody out.
So just look over here, where you can see. This is the entrance into
Steps. And behind me is the temple of Ptahshepses.
So this is the temple of Ptah, one of the gods of ancient Egypt. And if you follow me around in this direction, let's all kind of keep together. I want to show you something of the utmost importance so you can lay your eyes on it for yourself, and then we can head back over the wall. Ah, very good. How'd you get in here? Ah, okay. Yes, yes, okay. Here they are. These two in-situ containers. And if you look down, the one in front of us is exterior red granite, interior white limestone. And one of the main things I wanted to point out here, if you look at the terminals on each end, one of them is completely rounded. The other one, if you look here in this top left corner, is squared off. So one of them is kind of oval, egg-shaped. The other one has been squared off. And they're adjacent to each other. So top right over here is rounded off. Bottom left down here is rounded off. And then you can see the one that's been squared off on the other two adjacent edges. And there's a shaft over here. So the shaft leading down into this area is over here. Just so you can see the opening into this shaft is down here. Yeah, no, ma fish moschela. We're good, we're good. Out here? Okay. And he's got an easier way to get out over here. But to get some pictures. Again, this is a very rare opportunity. We'll go out this way. Yeah. So again, you can see here, look on the inside of this white limestone, that brown and reddish colored staining on the inside. So there appears to be some staining on the interior layer. So we're looking at something that is possibly 3 layers. A conductive layer, a dielectric layer, and then there's no telling what was on the inside. So that is speculative interpretation of what these things truly were. And so here, there was actually a vaulted housing over here. You can see these large beams here. There was originally an A-framed ceiling over this chamber here. So these large beams here were originally part of the, you can see the angle of the A-frame ceiling that originally came up in the center of this piece here. This underground chamber here, again, my initial impression, you fill this thing with water. Whatever was going on in here, that's subject to your own interpretation. But again, whenever time I see these shafts and underground systems, I immediately get the impression that they were filled with water, possibly salt water. So very, very interesting. Yes. Up.
Here you can see the layout of the initial mastaba and the primary chamber. This is the descending passage. In this 3D rendering, you can see the position of the containers as they were found by the excavators. And also, you can visualize the A-frame. This is a view from inside the primary chamber looking north, and you can better see the terminals or lifting bosses. This is up for interpretation. Again, looking north, you have a better view of inside one of the containers, and you can see the precision of the inlay, which is limestone, with an outer shell of red granite. What is the purpose of this inlay, and why was there a need for such a precise fit for a quote-unquote sarcophagus? And now enjoy some footage from our Japan 2024 expedition, in which we investigated the connections between Japan, the UK, and Egypt.
Today we're here at the Osaka Prefecture Museum, and behind me are containers that were found within Kofun, resembling what we see in Egypt. It's remarkable. Take a look.
Thank you for watching. Join us for part 2. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more epic adventures from Ancient Odysseys.
That was awesome. Today we're here at the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Neferkare. You can see Saqqara in the distance. this. Now, this is the continuation of the causeway. Here we have the red quartzite collection basin.
So basalt comes from an area called Wadi El Faras. Okay, so the conventional explanation is for collection of rainwater. They were collecting chemicals. And to me, one of the most important in-situ artifacts. That's been moved off of the site.
Bunch of basalt here. Quartzite. Coming.
Hey, everybody, please stick together. Black basalt. Yes. So, black basalt here. This is red quartzite. Red quartzite, quartzite, quartzite.
We're searching for a piece of conduit.
And then this is granite
collectible.
here. So you can really see the difference in red quartzite compared to red granite.
Cornice piece.
Wow, it's hilarious. Holy crap.
So you can see that, Paul, here on the right, it may look like this structure is mostly rubble.
Herring was the first modern-era excavator to gain access into the Pyramid of Niuserra. This is his diagram of the internal substructure. The only other modern-era excavator to visit inside the pyramid was Bordchart, who published his findings in 1907, and this is his diagram. This photo was taken from within the primary chamber of the Pyramid of Niuserra. It was captured during Bordchart's excavation, and you can see the colossal chevrons. This is a 3D rendering of the eastern temple of the Pyramid of Niuserra that will help orient you as we explore. We are now making our way past the offering. The primary geologies that comprise this temple are basalt, here in black, used largely for paving, and red granite, represented in pink, used for the columns and some wall casing. Also, there is limestone, represented in yellow. It was used for the core in many of the magazines. Quartzite was also utilized in some pieces, and most notably for the conduit system and collection bowl that we will see momentarily.
But if you look under the rubble, you can see the large megalithic body of the structure
These are the magazines.
That we've really come around. So these are quarry marks. And we'll see these all over the Giza Plateau where they were breaking down this stone.
Oh, they were going to break it right on it.
Again, you can see the quarrying marks here. And they were breaking this thing apart to then move the smaller pieces off of the site. This is just the first example that we've seen with the really good examples of quarry marks.
So then that cartouche was put there sometime after that, well after
Yeah,
that.
cartouche is busted up after.
No. So the quarrying is later, like Roman era, Persian era, Greek era. Yeah, not diaspora. So it's not the same. But no, these are modern, relatively modern quarry, right? We're talking about the Romans or other civilizations that came here, broke down the stones, and then we take them off the site to use them for something else.
So the Egyptians would not have, or the pre-Aztecs would not have used that method to break a stone and cut it.
It's entirely possible that it could have happened also. So even the Egyptians were reusing these sites. We'll start to see several of these here at the site. So this is a saw blade cut. And you can see the striations of the saw blade. And here in just a minute, you'll see an example where there's actually a little lip that hangs over where you can actually see the thickness of this saw blade as it was cutting through the stone. So it would have been moving like this.
Or yeah.
You know,
We will now examine this segment of the quartzite conduit system here.
Oh, see, I think angle going.
yeah, no, but also angled down, correct.
Yeah, look at that. More pottery.
So before we explore,
So I'm standing next to one of the inlets for the conduit system, made of quartzite. We'll see where it terminates later on.
base of the pyramid. So you have to remember this thing used to have casing stones. And the casing stones on the structure probably came to right about here. So we're talking right at the edge of the pyramid structure. There was something in this area that was connected into this channel system, because it wouldn't be just sticking up like this. There would have been another piece here, there would have been stuff here, there would have been a whole housing or something in this area.
Here's your doctoral dissertation, right? It's sticking out.
This was the genesis of my entire work, was this system.
There it is. There's your dissertation.
Because when I came upon this artifact, the conventional story is that this thing is for drainage of rainwater. But we'll see at the end of the system why I disagree with that idea. So again, red quartzite. If this was for drainage of water, you can easily carve it out of the bedrock, or limestone. This black basalt temple here, so these are the ones that are supposed to be painted, limestone painted black. We'll
Yes,
see if
on
we can
the
find that.
transfers.
That was reported by Bordchart.
Should be on the north side.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I think those are real black basalt.
Is this a lion cubby here?
Here we are looking into the small corridor where Bordchart found fragments of a lion statue, which guarded a small passage. This small dark passage led to the door frame at the top of the stairs. It is thought that this small passage gave access to a hidden bolt, which would secure the door. This is similar to what we see at Qasr al-Saga, the palace of the goldsmith in the Fayum Oasis. You can learn more about this locking mechanism in my episode 27. These are Bordchart's drawings of the lion statue fragments he found in this small corridor.
This is apparently where Bordchart found fragments of a lion statue. Who knows? Maybe these are still pieces of it.
So, see if you can go over there and look for that thing.
Okay.
The other one, it should be in this area somewhere. I think maybe opening out to the other side of this temple.
There's a piece of quartz right here. So I'm on the hunt for a piece of conduit and a collection basin.
We are now entering the courtyard, which held 16 monolithic granite columns in the form of 6 bound papyrus stocks. This is a reconstruction of the papyrus stock columns prepared by Bordchart. In the middle of the court was a large sandstone or, more likely, quartzite basin. This basin is believed to have been a part of the conduit system. The theorized course of the conduit system, as it would have been in antiquity, is represented by the dotted line. This is Bordchart's artistic reconstruction of the courtyard as he envisioned it, and it includes the basin.
Saw blade marks. And then if you look down here, you can see that there's a lip hanging over on this piece right here.
It's the basalt floor of the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Niuserra. Here's a fragment of the papyrus column.
Back and forth in this manner to cut through the stone.
These are the column bases.
So they call them pendulum saws. And this was a widely used type of saw where you have an A-frame and you have a big metal saw in the middle and you have two guys on the side of it moving it back and forth. Kind of like the log.
Here's one of the capitals of the
something of that nature.
papyrus bundle column.
Well, it is curved. Where do we get basalt? So basalt comes from an area called Wadi El Faras, which is a quarry area of volcanic rock in southeastern Egypt.
Okay, so it's a long ways away.
Correct. Pretty good, right? And one of the unusual things about basalt, so it grows in these type of formations. So this is how it would, you would find it in the quarry site, growing in these oblong polygonal formations. And they literally took it from the quarry in its shape. So say for example, this is the quarry site. They would have mapped the quarry and marked all of the stones on a grid.
Yep.
And then you take that grid pattern with everything numbered and then you make it back here. So all the stones, you find them in this original shape, you put it back together,
Okay, so it's like a
and
puzzle.
you replicate puzzle pieces. Here you can see the depth of these stones and the depth of this floor. So you're running your channel underneath a system that can maintain the heat of the conduit, which would do two things. Let's say you had a viscous liquid, something that was very thick and prone to clogging. You want to keep it hot. And to make it more effectively moving this
Apparently, this is painted limestone to look like basalt.
solution gets cold, those dissolved particles fall out of suspension or solution and fall in plugs in your hole, in your tubes in your pipe. You want to keep it hot. Keep those particles going back on top.
There's supposed to be a piece of conduit in this area. I have not been able to locate it yet. You can see Saqqara in the distance.
We are now entering the atrium, paved with black basalt. And we get a glimpse of the causeway, which is largely still unexcavated. This is Bordchart's reconstruction of the causeway, which would have been partially roofed with a slit for illumination, quite similar to what we see on the causeway to the Pyramid of Wanis in Saqqara.
Look at this. Now, this is the continuation of the causeway. Most of it is unexcavated. There's supposed to be multiple collection basins.
Now we will examine a surviving portion of the quartzite conduit system. Beginning outside the entrance to the atrium, running under the basalt pavement, and curving under the north wall of the causeway, and emptying into an exquisite decorative quartzite stone basin.
Here we have the red quartzite collection basin. We saw the inlet near the pyramid of Niuserra.
This is the inlet to the quartzite conduit system. The conventional theory is that this was for rainwater drainage. However, this area was most likely roofed, as we see similar structures in other pyramid temples roofed. The inlet is also narrow, so it would be ineffective to direct water and would clog easily. So what was it for? We were recently on an expedition across Japan where we investigated this ancient basin and conduit system at the base of a pyramid structure in the Asuka prefecture that reminds me of what we find in Abusir.
So these are granite that contains, he said, something like a biolite, like some special pigment of a stone. Yeah, these are granite, and these are sandstone.
First three tiers are granite and sandstone.
These stones are granite.
That's just like the Egyptian pyramids where
Yeah. And then
there's
the casing
a lower
is sandstone.
casing of red granite.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Arigato gozaimasu. So you were saying there's further conduit?
Yeah,
Here?
yeah, they found it. But unfortunately, it's under the car park today.
So Lex was just commenting how much this system reminds.
I'm Lex Levy, and this is Ancient Odysseys. I'm here at the red quartzite collection basin on the causeway to the pyramid of Niuserra.
A LiDAR scan was obtained of the basin and conduit system. LiDAR is an incredibly powerful tool for independent researchers. Stay tuned for LiDAR scans of ancient sites and artifacts around the world, some of which I plan to feature on my members-only channel. If you want to support our expeditions and research, pick up some Ancient Odysseys merch.
Out the bowl, which I've been waiting for years to see it empty. Because when we come out here, you don't move sand. As I was telling you on the bus, you don't scoop anything out. But they've since cleared this thing out, and I've never seen it. Come take a look at this. This is a rare. Last year we were here, it was filled with sand up to here.
So now you know how deep it is.
This is the first time that I've been able to see this artifact almost completely empty. And it looks like they've also cleared out. Oh, so you can see it from the top now. So this was originally all filled with sand here, but you can see the sunlight coming from here, flowing out of this, and this would have originally been an ornate piece here. Right, so you can see it's broken off. There would have been an ornate end piece here, a lion head or something of that nature that was broken off of here.
During Bordchart's excavations, he found a basalt lion's head, and it is believed that several of these would have decorated spouts that exited through the temple's walls, with the walls being made of fine limestone and crowned with Taurus molding. This lion-headed spout that Bordchart uncovered reminded me very much of what I saw at the Temple of Hathor in Niuserra. You can learn more about this in my episode 31, where I explore the mysteries of the Hathor Temple.
So again, we're using red quartzite to build this infrastructure that was completely hidden underneath the floor of the temple. Nobody ever saw this.
So, anybody ever taken any samples of what's in here?
I wish.
To determine if they can figure out what the chemical composition of the whatever the liquid was.
And that would be the ideal way to do it. But you can see we're pretty closely supervised. And when you come out here on official visits, those sort of things are highly prohibited.
I see.
It would be very easy to do that.
Bakshish.
Oh, I know.
Bakshish. That's what you need, is enough of bakshish.
But you also have to remember that there may have been a metal inlay inside of this.
Yeah, true.
Right? I don't see any green copper oxide.
Yeah, because
in some of the other bowls you can see crags of metal and oxide. Yeah, no, this is original, and it was probably intended to go into this basin.
How did it drain? Why is maybe it drained underneath?
Again, I would love if they would just take that little bit extra out of there so we could see what was going on. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there was a plug in there, but also, so again, conventional story is rainwater drainage.
So is that what they're stored?
Is that heavy water?
This is actually original.
That's all, even they.
There might be some patches in here, but there's a fantastic, and I showed this in my episode, the juxtaposition of the pictures from the 1900s with the archaeologist sitting here and a modern picture that I took, and it looks the exact same. But the thing is, like, it's a cool juxtaposition of the old photo with new photos, and I'm like standing here, and it's me standing in the exact same place as Bordchart.
Yeah, it just looks like it's been patched.
So this in here, yes, this is restoration. This right here is not original, but the stone itself, this is original. This here is patchwork. This is probably a patch in here too. There is modern concrete in here, yes. So especially the part that I wouldn't do that. Hey, I wouldn't do that. You see here, that's concrete.
So this would have been. This is all broken off right here.
Yeah, broken off. Yeah. So again, there was something here.
Something here, yeah.
What a huge.
Somebody took it for their house.
It's probably in a mansion.
You know, it's a beautiful piece. Yeah. They broke it off and took it out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the conventional explanation is for collection of rainwater, drainage, rainwater.
Guess they could have drank it.
So
The idea is,
to me, it's super counterintuitive. If it was just rainwater, the Nile is right there. You just drain it off the side, or drain it back in this direction. Why would they collect it?
Yeah.
And if this was a pharaonic burial, would you put a gutter and a drain system on a modern cemetery, then collect and drink that water that was running past your dead ancient ancestors? No. Like, it's a pretty counterintuitive idea that this is for rainwater drainage. The first time I saw this was the first site that I ever came to in 2017, and this is why I include this place on my tours, because this is such a special artifact for me. This completely changed everything about the rest of my life. This is what changed the rest of my life, was seeing this the first time in person. And something in my, they were collecting chemicals. Whatever it was, they were collecting something that was incredibly important. And to me, the first thing in my head, people don't realize the importance of chemicals to our modern society. Everything we have is predicated upon our ability to make chemicals, whether it be fertilizers, acids. The plastics are a result of the chemical manufacturing industry. Everything we have today is because we figured out how to make chemicals on an industrial scale in the early 1900s. Completely changed our modern civilization because of ancient chemistry. So again, to me, this is a very special artifact, and I wish, you know, again, clear all the sand out of here. Let's see the bottom of it. Let's see what goes from here. There's certainly more archaeological work could be carried out, but this has been buried since the early 1900s. And to me, one of the most important in situ artifacts, because you can see this thing is also embedded into this. So it wasn't, this bowl, they weren't moving it. So somebody was coming out here and meticulously collecting something with a lot of care, and most likely putting it into a vase or a container of some sort that had particular, so we go back to the vase conversation.
Very valuable.
So in my opinion, the more perfect the vase, the more special the material that was put in those vases. And that's all they are, is containers. But today we make nice containers for things that are valuable for us and things that are intended to last, to be stored for a long time. We make sure to put it in a good, durable container. So that's my idea regarding the function of the vases, is that they were for valuable alchemical chemicals.
No, Greg, if you did what we were talking about, and you get some, like University of Chicago.
Yeah.
Because they're heavy into this.
Not much remains of the causeway. Much of it is still unexcavated.
Interact with the mercury in a way that it breaks down the metallic bonds, where the gold is still in there, and it can spill out the mercury, and it can leave pure gold. That's how you use mercury for processing. Okay. So now let me take you over to this piece here.
Quartzite?
Okay, huge pieces of red granite.
Interesting.
Foundation and columns. Example at the Pyramid of Saqqara where there's copper oxide staining in the hieroglyphic inscription, and that means that there was a piece of copper that was inlaid there also would have been seats or columns that would have been shaped with a flower shape. How tall?
The frame. We're approaching the pyramid of Neferkare. Oh, we've never have gotten to go down into the Eastern Temple.
We will now explore the Great Pyramid of Abusir, Neferkare. It is given this name because it is the largest pyramid and it occupies the highest elevation. The data we have on the internal substructure of this pyramid is sparse, with the only two modern-era excavators being Paring and Bordchart. Here we have Paring's diagram. You can see the stepped core of the pyramid, and it is believed that this was constructed in 3 phases, with the third phase being a true pyramid form. This is a 3D rendering of the Eastern Temple of Neferkare. It too was built in 3 phases, the first being made of limestone and sparse use of red granite, the second mud brick and wooden columns, and the third also mud brick. The extensive use of granite and a conduit system that we see in Sahura, for example, is omitted here, and this is thought to be due because of the early demise of the king. Also, there was no built causeway, but instead a footway of beaten Nile mud that led towards the Nile Valley. It is thought that a part of this route was later used by Niuserra to build his causeway and erect his valley temple, which at one time had probably been reserved for Neferkare. Also, I want to mention that this is the first time that I have encountered the use of wooden columns in an ancient Egyptian temple complex. This immediately reminded me of what we saw while visiting the Woodhenge in Durrington, England. Could there be a specific function for the use of these wooden columns?
There's not much that remains. You can see the mud brick structures. Oh, and here are some column bases. You can see it would have been lined with columns or pillars. Looks like columns. much of this structure was added to later using Lebanese cedar. This is so cool. I'm Lex Levy, and this is Ancient Odysseys. We're here within the eastern temple to the pyramid of Neferkare. I'll show you a reconstruction of this eastern temple. It's a piece of quartz, red granite.
And the conduit system. No, they're all collapsed on the inside. Yeah, all of them have catastrophically caved in on the inside.
Oh wow.
So not the tiered walls, but just huge, immense pieces of stone that create this A-frame.
Some interesting housings here. You can see Saqqara in the distance. Coming! I'm excited. This is Ancient Odysseys. Today we're here at the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Neferkare. Today we're here at the Eastern Temple, the Pyramid of Neferkari. I'm walking on top of the causeway to the pyramid of Niuserra. Quartzite here. Okay.
Color. So we were just talking about how that collection bowl may have originally had a copper inlay, like a metal bowl on the inside of it. So this is a piece of quartzite, and you can see the green material here, here, and here.
That's a beautiful specimen.
Which again, I can't 100% confirm that that's what it is, but just from general appearance, that does look like a copper oxide. So this is a very unique fragment here. And this is the general area where that second conduit and collection bowl would be. Somewhere in here, because this is the temple, that's the pyramid of Niuserra, this is the correct corner, and there's fragments of stone all in this area. So this is a very important piece.
Search continues.
Leave that right there. So I wouldn't do that either. You pick them up. Yeah. So I remember my first trip to Egypt. We were out here. I saw one of these guys come up.
It's interesting. I wonder if this was a piece of it. So far, this is the most likely spot. Alright, on to the Pyramid of Suhure. There's all sorts of fragments.
Here are some of the major quartzite fragments I noticed while exploring. This one was found north of the Traverse Corridor, and this northeast of the Offering Hall, and to the north of the entrance of the Eastern Temple. Here's a group northeast of the enclosure, and another group at the northeast corner of the Pyramid of Niuserra. Here's a large fragment found in the northern corridor of the Eastern Temple. And several others in the northern atrium magazines and the atrium. There's also another fragment found on the causeway. I'd like to look at these closer during the next expedition to see if there's any cuts in these stones, which will help me to understand what they may have been a part of. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, pick up some merch, and stay tuned for more epic adventures from Ancient Odysseys. Never stop exploring.
This is Ancient Odysseys, and here at Abusir, the Pyramid of Suhure. This is verdigris. This is oxidized copper. That means these hieroglyphs were inlaid. Here we have in-situ, king of Upper and Lower Egypt. This is the cartouche of Suhure. So, we're here at Abusir and it's pouring out.
If you want to help support our research and expeditions, grab some merch from the new Archeo Alchemy store. Rock the classic logo in your favorite color combination with some beautiful alchemical prints. There are hats, mugs, hoodies, shorts, tanks, and tapestries. More designs are in the works, so stay tuned. And if you want to be the lifeblood of my channel, please become a member for early access, exclusive updates, and content. Thank you all so much. Now, back to our adventure.
A lot of these borders,
I'm Lex Levy. Today we're here at the Pyramid of Suhure in Abusir. Today we're here at Abusir. Special permission access. Here we're looking at the valley temple to the pyramid of Suhure.
This is a 3D rendering of the Suhure Pyramid Valley Temple done by Keith Hamilton. The limestone is represented in yellow, red for red granite, and black for black basalt. The Nile would have met the Valley Temple and would have served as a place for boats to dock. This is Bordchart's original Valley Temple plan layout, which Keith Hamilton based his 3D rendering on. Here Bordchart documented the in-situ conduit fragments embedded in the causeway. This is a beautiful rendering of the Valley Temple done by Bordchart as he envisioned it in antiquity. It is thought that the temple was roofed.
Yes, here. Again, more of the hieroglyphs. You can see the Jed pillar here. Archaeological plans for the site, this is not indicated. It was most likely still buried, and it just happened to be that enough wind blew through this area to kind of expose this rim here. It's hard to say. This is not even shown. Yeah, it's not on the drawings on Bordchart's original where they grid everything. And sections are dug out section at a time, documenting what's found in each little grid section. And little brushes and stuff, removing soil very, very carefully.
During our exploration, we noticed this circular basin connected to a portion of conduit that aligns with the remaining in-situ fragments of the major conduit system in the causeway. This basin has not been recorded in any archaeological documentation that I've found. The conventional archaeological theory is that the elaborate basin and conduit system embedded in the temple floor and causeway was for rainwater drainage. But why would rainwater be collected off a quote-unquote tomb of a pharaoh? And how much rain were they getting at the time of operation? And why not direct it into the Nile? You will see during our expedition that the system in place would be inefficient for rainwater drainage and collection.
that leads down into the valley temple. And we've been talking about how these valley temples were also functioning as harbors for the site. And water, during the inundation of the Nile River, the water would have come all the way up to the threshold of the valley temple, which was also the harbor for the site. And we'll go down here. Can we go in the temple?
I'm Lex Levy. This is Ancient Odysseys. Today we're here at the Pyramid of Sahure here at Abusir. I'm standing on the causeway.
Okay, so if you come from over here, it's just a good way to see everything that we're about to investigate. Looking down.
This is a 3D rendering of the Pyramid of Sahure, the satellite pyramid, and the Eastern Temple, created by Keith Hamilton. The different geologies utilized are represented as follows: black being the basalt used as a dado at the entrance and the pavement of the courtyard and its ambulatory, and pink being red granite used largely for door frames, columns, and casing for the offering hall, statue niches, and the courtyard ambulatory, and yellow representing limestone, making up the core and the remaining structures. There was once a second story, and there are remnants of stairwells in the northern and southern magazines, as well as a ramp in the northeast corner. A fragment of the roof, adorned with stars, survives in the courtyard, and we'll see this later in our expedition.
Looking down in the floor here, you can see the interlocking polygonal masonry in the floor in this section right here. This temple structure was originally 2 stories, and we'll see stairs inside of this that would have led to the second level of the temple.
This is a reconstruction of the Sahure Eastern Temple done by Bordchart. Here he has included the roof of the temple and positioned the basalt line-headed spouts that I spoke about in part 1.
Then from here, look down into the temple, and you see those hieroglyphs that have the green color?
Yeah.
Those had copper in them. And those hieroglyphs are immaculately precise. They are the same quality as the construction of the stone itself, which we've talked about some of these comparisons and differences between the quality of the hieroglyphs and the quality of the artifact. These two are the same thing. So let's go. This symbol here is very similar to the symbol Nabu, which is the symbol for gold. Gold has several little rays coming out of it, but this is the first time that I've noticed that it has that hieroglyph that's very reminiscent to the hieroglyph for gold. So here you also see the integration of black basalt and red granite in the structure. And here's your first look at some good tube drill holes. This is the site where everybody comes and talks about the tube drills to show the striations. Here's another one with this tube drill hole here. I think they are original, and they appear to be the same quality as the stone.
Interesting piece of conduit where 2 lines converge.
As we explore, we will find that this temple complex had significant security measures. Scattered around the complex, we will see granite pieces with a rebate cut into them with tube drill holes. These granite fragments are remnants of the door frames, and the holes would have contained bolts to secure them. In Bordchart's reconstruction, we see that 2 bolts emerge from the granite frame, and at one end they are wider. This is to prevent them from being withdrawn completely from the frame, as the hole in the metal plate, which covers the channel, would be smaller at the end. Bordchart has the metal plate secured at its bottom by a threshold block, while at its top, it's secured by an overlying masonry block. Here, Bordchart has a door displaying 3 bolts, which is found in the Valley Temple, and we will see later. The difference here is that basalt pieces were used to prevent the bolts from being withdrawn. And these basalt pieces were kept in place with a metal covering, as shown in the 2-bolt door. In this photo, we can see a channel in the upper face of the stone in which the metal cover plate would have been anchored into. Unfortunately, none of these metal components or doors survived the looting of the temple. So why the need for all of these security measures? During my research, I found that Pering had retrieved hieroglyphs from inside the Pyramid of Sahure, which include Nebu, meaning gold, and the scepter, meaning fine gold. Also, Nebu is present on the side entrance columns. Pering also recorded Nebu from inside the Pyramid of Neferkare. In part 1, I discussed the secret passage and bolt system that is within the eastern temple of Niuserra. It is similar to what is found at Qasr el-Saga, which is known as the Palace of the Goldsmith. The high security measures, the hieroglyphs meaning gold, and the intricate conduit system leads me to believe that the Abusir Pyramid complex was used for the refinement of gold.
H blocks are at Funku. Yes.
I'm Lex Levy, and this is Ancient Odysseys. Today we're here at Abusir, at the Pyramid of Sahure. Let's go explore the Eastern Temple. Here we have a colossal lintel beam with hieroglyphs, and you can see this greenish color. This is verdigris. This is oxidized copper. That means these hieroglyphs were inlaid. Sahure and Subiti. Here we have Insubiti, king of Upper and Lower Egypt. And this is the cartouche of Sahure. Sahura. This is Wadjet and Nekbet, the two ladies. Nekbet being Upper Egypt, Wadjet, Lower Egypt. Behind me is a limestone fragment of the ceiling, which was adorned with stars.
So if you follow me this way, we'll walk through and I'll show you all of the channel and conduit. You know, I've never noticed this in all my times coming out here. Look at all these fragments of painted pieces here.
Looks like they got some sort of a root or a rope or something in the rock.
So I've never noticed all of those fragments of painted pieces, and I would imagine that those are original pieces of some of the walls here. Okay, so here, conduit system. This is a channel that was connected into a series of 5 basins that were located in this temple structure. So if you follow this conduit channel here, you can see it branches off in this direction. It runs in this direction here, and you can walk around and kind of follow it in different areas of the temple. And then it goes off in this direction, and we'll finish going in this direction. So again, you can see the conduit channel here, and they found copper pipes in this channel system.
Where they are?
They've been removed.
And how we know that they found?
So this is all from the original archaeology reports from the 1900s. So this is the channel here. Here you can see the stairs that would have gone to the 2nd floor of the structure.
This is Bordchart's temple plan. The basin locations are highlighted in blue, and the red line represents the intricate layout of the conduit system. This conduit system runs through the courtyard and down the causeway to the valley temple. The basins had a copper pipe attached to their bottoms and a plug made of lead with a copper ring which closed the hole. These are the lead plugs with the copper rings that Bordchart found during its excavation. These are photos of a copper pipe mortared into a section of conduit that Bordchart found. Bordchart would suggest that the eyelet was made of copper and the cast rings that connected these pipes were made of yellowish bronze, and he thought this was remarkable for the period. In places, only crystalline verdigris left on the mortar indicated the presence of copper pipe, and in some places, oxidized copper sheeting was found. These are photos I took of an incredibly interesting and rare piece of conduit that merges 2 channels. Perhaps this was used to mix 2 different solutions. It is not clear where this piece was originally positioned. This is a photo I took of a curved portion of the conduit system that runs towards the satellite pyramid. Perhaps this system was connected to other structures. You will see as we walk east down the causeway that there are surviving segments that lead all the way to what remains of the Valley Temple. While exploring the Valley Temple, now mostly quarried away and covered in foliage and sand, we discovered this circular basin, which appears to be made of basalt. You can see how it's connected to the conduit system. This circular basin is totally omitted from all the temple surveys and schematics that I've seen. This is Bordchart's reconstruction of the Valley Temple to the Pyramid of Sahure. This is Bordchart's plan of the Valley Temple, which omits the basin that we found. And this is Keith Hamilton's 3D rendering of the Valley Temple, which defines where the basalt, red granite, and limestone was utilized. Why was there this intricate conduit system and basin embedded beneath the basalt pavement of the Valley Temple court to collect, quote-unquote, rainfall drainage? It could have easily been directed into the Nile floodplain, as it is just cubits away.
So this is a basin embedded in the floor of the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Sahure. We'll follow this conduit.
Where's all this tectonic movement coming from? So they were very concerned about these rocks not vibrating out of place.
This would have been a basin.
Take it in a rough shape, and whatever the rough shape it is, you just kind of finish it together. So they definitely work smarter and not harder. It goes, splits in this direction. It goes right, left. Here's a piece of it here that would have led up to a basin or a housing here. You can see a piece of the channel here that runs down in this direction, and all of these converge downhill from the basins. So there would have been a basin where you're standing, connected into the channel, moved downhill into the center point, and down out of the structure in this direction. So if you follow it here, here's more of the channel. And again, we'll pick this up as it moves out of the structure down the causeway. So, and I've showed these in my episode on the conduit system of the Pyramid of Sahure. So Bordchart found lead plugs in these basins. So there was a metal plug with a copper handle that was in these basins connected into this piping system. So again, we're not talking about collection of rainwater here. We're talking about a plumbing system of some sort. I don't think these are restrooms, right, because that would be very desecration of your sacred burial site. They don't have porta-johns in the temples of these things, right? Right. So what were they for? And what were they draining out of here that is then collected in the Eastern Temple? We're going to follow this thing all the way down to the Valley Temple to a huge collection basin at the bottom of the structure. So again, I'm going back to the idea that the temples were laboratories, processing, collection, and further distribution. Intermediaries between the reactor and the distribution at the harbor.
You're using the word temple in a very...
I like the word temple because it's a ritual. It's a sacred structure. Not temple in a religious sense, right, but temple in the fact that it was a revered site that was most likely intended for only the practitioners of the sacred mysteries. Not your average Joe is coming in here and using the restroom in the temple. What do you read? A priest class. And I think the word chemist, priest, alchemist were most likely simultaneous words describing the same people.
So we're in this section, the first level of the temple, and you can see that there's still remnants of staircases.
This is a layout of the southern magazines as envisioned by Bordchart. Here you have a glimpse of the second-story chambers, the roof, and its decorative cavetto, and the way the chambers were possibly illuminated by these apertures. He included where he believed the basalt line-headed spouts we discussed in part 1 were positioned.
Where's the one I was looking for? There's another weird one. It's all on the other side of this one. I'll show it to you on the way out. Let me show you this piece over here.
Alright, we're walking to the northern face, the entrance of the Pyramid of Suhure. Last time we were here, it was cemented shut. Let's see if it's open now.
Why did they do that? I don't have a good answer. It is everything is falling down. You can see this whole thing. That's why I wouldn't get too close to any of that.
Is that all collapsed?
Because all that stuff is on the verge of falling down.
So it wasn't an enclave? Or was...
So again, you have to imagine all this stone has been quarried out of here. People have come, this was a whole solid pyramid structure.
Yeah.
And people have come in and removed stones and taken all that stuff out of here to where it compromised the foundation of the pyramid so much that the whole thing is eventually going to fall down. One day, it will collapse.
The Pyramid of Suhure is currently closed to the public and is undergoing restoration work as the substructure is at risk of collapse. Here's the northern entrance that was cemented shut during our expedition. This is Bordchart's reconstruction of the Pyramid of Suhure, and you can see a 6-step core and 3 layers of massive chevrons over the primary chamber, forming the A-frame, which is located in the center of the pyramid and level with the bedrock. This is Keith Hamilton's 3D reconstruction of the substructure of Suhure. Red granite was utilized in the descending passage, the portcullis, and the band that immediately precedes the antechamber. The single portcullis system is similar to what we saw in the Pyramid of Userkaf.
And that's why they don't want people going down inside here, because they don't want to be responsible for, you know, it happened to be on that day when there's a bunch of U.S. tourists on here that go down in there and everybody gets crushed to the collapse. Yes, they have diagrams and there are pictures.
I can see a huge lintel block.
Original reports from Bordchart. So we do have pictures and we do have diagrams of the internal system. And I can show those to you when we get on the bus. Oh yeah. And I'll send you, I have a great episode showing all of this stuff and all the pictures of the conduits and the pipes, all that stuff from the original excavation.
Standing here at the entrance to the northern side of the Pyramid of Suhure.
See the sandstorm?
Looks like it'll crumble at any moment. That's why the entrance is sealed shut. The structure is compromised.
We'll also have, it looks like it's rotating, like a little tornado. But no, that may be, if it continues to move, then it's sand. If it stays in the same place, it's fire. I think that is sand. See how it's moving?
Are all these speakers connected to the same guide?
No.
The same voice?
Oh, yeah,
So they are called Muazzin. Yeah. Muazzin. Yeah. I forget. It's a minaret. The tower itself is a minaret, and they're calling for prayer. So in the Muslim religion, they have 5 prayers per day. The first one at 4:30 in the morning, which I hear in my house is like right next to one.
Okay, I'm sneaking away to the western side of the Pyramid of Saray. It's been an awesome day. We've been able to see so much more than we've ever been able to see.
I've been waiting to see it. Yeah, yeah.
And that was definitely
Oh yeah, you see it moving. Yeah, you don't want to be caught in one of those. It'll be a real mess.
But do they come also close to?
So there have been times where
It's
you
raining.
look out the window and everything is brown. It's just a huge cloud of sand moving through the area. And in 5 minutes, all the cars outside are just coated in this stuff. So it's really pretty nasty to be outside.
We're here at Abusir and it's raining. It's super rare. Feels great. Just 2 days ago we saw a rainbow over Saqqara. It's pouring out. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're here at Abusir and it's pouring out.
We're lucky enough to get one of these rainstorms.
So what we are seeing now is an extremely rare occurrence. And what we're also going to see in just a minute is what this thing looks like clean. Wow. With all of the dust washed off of the surface, we're going to be able to walk.
Look what is falling on my
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
How it's raining birds.
Ah, man.
Now you have seen the pyramid temples of Sahure in the rain, and the elaborate basin and conduit system embedded in the temple floor and causeway. It is clear that the conventional archaeological theory of them being used for rainwater drainage needs revision.
That was awesome.
It's a really
Very rare experience, maybe once or twice a year that we get any sort of rain in Egypt, let alone we got to experience it out during a private special permission visit to the pyramid of Sahure at Abusir. Really awesome.
Great work, babe.
A lot of these
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, pick up some merch, and stay tuned for more epic adventures. If you want to help support our research and expeditions, grab some merch from the new Archeo Alchemy store. Rock the classic logo in your favorite color combination with some beautiful alchemical prints. There are hats, mugs, hoodies, shorts, tanks, and tapestries. More designs are in the works, so stay tuned. And if you want to be the lifeblood of my channel, please become a member for early access, exclusive updates, and content. Thank you all so much.